New angle. uh, I used a light bulb for lighting this time because it was too dark, and it's pink. Oh my god. That okay, I have to show this to you. It's pink. I don't know if it's gonna. Oh yeah, it's probably not. There it is. It's beautiful. That's pink. And yeah. Now I'm thinking I should change the angle once again, but it's more about me, not the sky. I'm gonna make it a tradition now, sort of, to to just talk about my life before any video, before getting to any video, because it feels nice to catch up with an imaginary audience. I must guess, um, because outside of the people I know, barely, I don't think anyone who I really don't know or don't expect to watch my videos are even watching my videos. But if one day someone is and you care about this, then yeah. I was gonna say that today I hate myself a little bit less, but I'm not going to because I think I should keep it for a better video. Um, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And when I say doing good, it's a present continuous tense. And by that I mean in the span of the past week or so, I'm doing good. In the span of this year, even better. I mean, I couldn't imagine being here at the beginning of this year at all. And I like that. I dig it. Things are going decent for me. And I can just smell the amount of hard work and the amount of pain and suffering, the good kind of pain and suffering that I'm gonna have to go through for the next year or for the next 6 months or even for until January. It's gonna be tough, but it's gonna be fun as fuck. And I may not be the most mentally prepared for it or emotionally, but I'm down, right? I'm down for it. I really like what I'm doing um, with my tasks. I don't like to put it that way, but that's what it is. I really like the way I'm handling with this discipline, so to speak, right now. Am I recording? Please tell me I'm recording. Yeah, I'm fucking recording. What I'm doing is every day I just at the end of the day I have a little notepad and well, what I used to do was I had like a very beautiful routine in the middle couple months back, and one of the biggest things that was driving that routine was having that notepad and just writing on this date I have to do these many things. This is a dash and a task, and that was the main like driving force behind it because without knowing what the fuck I'm supposed to do, I would just fall apart, right? And it's not even knowing, but it's just that when I put it on paper, I know that I'm gonna do it because I'm telling myself to do it. And mind you, it wasn't perfect, as in I didn't exactly do 100% of the tasks that I told myself to do every single day. There were days where I completed them, there were days where I didn't complete anything. But that's not the point. The point is you tell yourself that you're gonna do something and you do it. Well, did I just contradict myself a little bit? But that's the reason that it was a phase, right? It didn't exactly continue well because of my complacency and because it wasn't solid. The reason it didn't work out was because it was all about always doing everything that you tell yourself to do. And the thing is, that's not even the problem. The problem were the tasks themselves. So what I've done now is I do the same thing, but instead of whatever tasks, how many number of tasks. I just limit it to 3. That I'm gonna write 3 tasks that I'm supposed to do the next day. And the only rule is that I have to do it. And this is where the situation becomes kind of interesting, because that's the only rule. Actually, there's another rule, but it's more of a depends on kind of a rule. I'll get to that. But the rule is that you just have to do it. And now it gets fun, because that means that the simplicity of the task has no bounds, right? Now, that doesn't mean that you just give yourself the most simple tasks every day and you do that and you be happy with yourself. No, because that's just stupid. That's just counterintuitive, right? The point is that while you're actually getting shit done, you feel good about it. And the feeling good about it part comes from knowing that you did what you told yourself to do. Self trust is self esteem. And at least this is working for me because of the way I have an attitude towards this situation. It might not work for everyone. It's not even what the video is about, it's just catching up. And so I just know intuitively when to give a specific task more difficulty or less difficulty. And in my mind, there's these invisible or undefined groups of tasks. There's a group of tasks that's related to myself and myself completely, as in when I'm gonna wake up, what if I'm gonna clean something today, if I have something to get done for myself, if I have to buy something, any of that, right? There's another group of tasks that's more for a little bit external things, as in spending time with my family, or doing something for someone, or just a little bit like aside from me, but still personal, right? And the another one is just work. It's just work related, which is also personal in a way because it's my work, but it also involves work that if I'm doing it for someone else, and all of that. And so having these undefined groups really makes it easier for me, because I can just pick and choose what group task is more important today, and I can write that task down. And intuitively, as I said, I can just keep on increasing the difficulty as I wish, as I feel it's comfortable. And at one point, it's gonna just set in. And this is why it doesn't fail for the most part. I'm not saying it can't fail, but I don't know how it can fail. I don't know like how it can fail, right? I mean, there's a million different ways, but I'm just not thinking about it. I'm sure it can fail, but a very good reason why it's likely not to fail is that you can bring up and down the difficulty of the task while still feeling good about the fact that you trusted yourself and you did it. That's it. That pink shit is bleeding. That was not pink. It's fucking. That looks good. It's red and blue. But anyways, yeah, it's just I like where it is right now, and I just know like this is like honestly this is like second priority in my life, because the first most important priority is sleep, and it probably always will be, because sleep fixes more problems that you have than you think you know, and in a miraculous way, and it's beautiful, and it's not even that difficult, right? Someone just rang the bell. I hope they have the key, as I hope it's my mother or my sister. Well, if they ring again, then I'll go in. Yeah. So, I wanted to talk about mediocrity and how to overcome it. And I haven't thought too much about it, but this is more of a place for me to actualize my thoughts than really advise anyone to do anything. The best thing I can hope to come out of it is that you feel admired by something I say and it influences you to do something, but I don't exactly expect you to follow my path, my steps, or whatever I say. Like, I'd be so happy if you disagreed with me, because not all the time, but at least you'd give me something to think about whether I'm wrong or not, right? So where it really started from was I was listening to music on my phone, and I don't have Spotify Premium. Don't judge me. Um, an ad came up for a podcast, and it's just old woman speaking about some bullshit, and it wasn't bullshit exactly, but she said this phrase. I don't remember what it was about. Tell me if you have had this ad before, but so it was like a snippet from a podcast which they were advertising, and what she said was, selfish goals lead to mediocrity. And I'm like, no shit, but it sank into me, and I'm like, what is a selfish goal and what isn't? And it made me realize some of the selfish goals that I thought I had, or that I really had. And it just made me think a lot about how your goals affect the quality of your work, how your ego is such a big player. And what that reminded me was this thing Tyler the Creator talked about. I don't know why it always comes back to him. I love him a lot. um, so he's in partnership with Converse, and there's like a series where it's called like Tyler Talks, where they just meet up with him and talk. And in I think one of the latest episodes where he's in Australia, um, he told this story that he had with Pharrell, and I don't remember the specifics of it. Please, just don't like come at me if I don't get it right. But so basically, he was talking about having a conversation with Pharrell right before Flower Boy came out and after Cherry Bomb was out, and he was in a studio with him and a bunch of other people that he was showing the demos of some Flower Boy songs to those people and Pharrell, showing making them listen, whatever. And he said that he had a very perspective shifting conversation, and he talks about this conversation in Massa. I love that fucking song from Call Me If You Get Lost. But and as I said, I don't remember the exact specifics of the conversation, but Pharrell was asking Tyler, "Do you know what Jimmy Iovine told me?" I don't know what the fuck Jimmy Iovine is, but Pharrell was like, he asked Pharrell, "Do you like house music?" And Pharrell was like, "Yeah, it's a good genre, nice beat." And Jimmy Iovine was like, "No, not the genre. House music, good music that buys you a house." I don't know what the significance of that line is, but like that's where it started. And I might put a snippet of what exactly, it's a phrase he said. I remember it, but I want to put the snippet in it. And Tyler was like, what he told Tyler was, are you doing it just because it's cool, or do you actually care about it, or something like that? Because if you're doing it just because it's cool, that's gonna burn out. When it becomes purpose oriented, it can be just as cool as the flashy shit, but it doesn't burn out. Like it's gonna stick with you, and it's, you get it. And the phrase that he said was, make something undeniable and make it equally as infectious. And I just love that phrase. And mind you, I don't think I've actually realized the gravity of that scene. My mom's here, and I hope she doesn't open this door. I'm just gonna. Make something undeniable and make it equally as. This part is gonna be cut. Make something undeniable and make it equally as infectious. And I don't think I've really understood the gravity of that phrase yet. I will. I'm sure I will. But that got me thinking about mediocrity. And I realize, because see, I'm 18 years old. I don't know my purpose. But when I'm working, when I'm creating, when I'm making a video, when I'm um like making a poster on Photoshop, or when I'm editing a photo and posting it on Instagram, what is what drives it? And I realize that if it's something self-oriented that's driving it, it's probably not going to last. If it's the fact that I get a lot of Instagram likes and validation is driving it, that's not going to like work out in the long term. If it's just because I want people to have a specific perception about me, that's not going to work out either. If it's just because it gives me status or power or money, especially, it's not going to stick around. And mind you, I love money. I want to have lots of it. I don't have lots of it, but I have an extreme thirst of making money. I'm not addicted to it, but as in the thirst, but I know I need money, and I just I have like a really good or a heavy awareness of my lack of it, and currently that's what's driving me to do things that give me money. And there's another everything has layers, so there's another layer to it which is more family oriented, where well, when I'm done having fun with my money, I'm going to give it to my family. Not exactly like that, but it's like a lot of my money I want to give to my family, like and that's the thing, I want to make enough of it that I want to give to my family and still not feel like I have little. And I had that thought, and I'm like, okay, that's just like think about it. You want to make so much money that not only do you want to give a lot to your family, but at the end, remember, you still want enough for yourself, and that's selfish. Selfish goals will lead to mediocrity. And now it's fine because I'm not old, and I don't have a very mature understanding of this. So me making a little money here and there is going to be a good thing for my family, because they'll be happy that I'm making money, and I'll feel good about myself. But it's when the abundance starts pouring in, and it's actually when I start spending it as well, and I start living off of it, is when it's gonna come back to bite me in the ass. But let's not get into that. But it's really to think about, something to think about, if your um, creativity is linked to money, and just thinking about your goals. But anyways, I want to tell you how to overcome mediocrity, and it's gonna sound dumb, but you're gonna have to stick with me, and you might have to practice it or do it to really get it. And it might not work for you, right? But I know it's worked for me, and I know it will work. And I've already said it. It's practice, and it sounds dumb as fuck, right? Like how you're gonna be better by practice? Yeah. And you'll be like, that's obvious. Well, oh, the most popular phrase I want to say right now is, most obvious things are easily overlooked. But that's not even that. It's just people don't give the right value to that word practice and the action. And I'm going to put it in a different way so I can really sell it to you. And this also ties back to something, well, let's just go there now. It ties back to something Parth's professor said. Or I don't remember the origin of it. I just know it came from Parth to me, and Parth got it from somewhere in his college, right? And it's that you have to break the rules first. I mean, sorry, fuck. You have to understand the rules first before you get to break them. And this was in the context of something I made and he made, and he showed it to his professor, and he was like, this is really good. And it was like, I made it on Photoshop, and this was in context of Photoshop, and he's like, this is good. Like it's not the best objectively speaking, but I can see the emotions. I can see, something like that. He said, and he said that you have to learn the rules before you get to break them. And in the context of Photoshop, all that means is you gotta fucking learn how to use Photoshop before you can be experimental with it, and it doesn't exactly apply to every part of life, because there's some really small underground experimental music artists that are just fucking amazing, right? And that's that really stuck to me, and ever since I've been uh, grinding Photoshop and learning masks and textures and half tone and gradients and all of that shit. Right? I'm not even like amazing at it yet, but I know I can make something good if I wanted to, and I am making good shit. But that phrase plus another thing that came from Parth was they had an assignment, or they had like an activity where, and it was like a course about empathy, which is weird, but like it makes a lot of sense in design. And a part of it was to I don't exactly remember what the core of it was. I mean, what they had to do, but a part of it was to get all the bad, all the terrible ideas out, like just say them, and maybe even work them, so that you can get it out of your system, and then you can get to the great ideas. And I've heard this whole exercise being talked a lot about in design. You might have seen a reel about it, but it's not too popular, but like I've heard it before. And it makes so much sense to have this attitude about practice, because that's what it is. Every time you have an idea and you're putting it on the table, you're saying it to someone, it's practice. It's a step to excellence, towards greatness, towards a great idea. And remember what I said, like the key is practice. It's also attitude. It's also a perception that you have towards this practice and this pseudo failure. And I started really practically seeing it in my classes, where I'm learning how to sketch and ideate, and you know, it's a coaching class for uh, like they train you to lost my train of thought. They train you to like pass competitive exams for design, like NATA, like for architecture, or for NID, like design and shit. And sketching is a part of it, and ideation is a part of it, and aptitude is a part of it. But I mostly saw it in sketching and ideation, that if I get all my bad works out first, I'm gonna get to the good ones. And I wish I could show some to you. I don't want to go and do it right now, but when I started sketching and I was learning perception, which I still am, perspective, 2 point perspective, and all of that shit, I was really bad at it. I couldn't draw straight lines. I still can't, because I don't have the perfect practice for it. It's much better now, but like I sucked at it. And this was before I even heard of this or like gained this attitude. But now it's like I'm so proud for giving myself a chance to get all of my mediocrity, all of my horrible artworks out, spewed out onto paper, so I can reach perfection. Not perfection, just betterness, just greatness. And that's the attitude to think about it, that every time you make something bad, be grateful for it. Like, be happy that it was so bad, because the worse it is, I think, the closer you are to making something better. And it's literally the old saying that learn from your mistakes so you can be better. Like that's what it is. To make a mistake is a blessing. Sounds so corny, but that's what it is. And that was in sketching. And in ideation, basically, when I saw it was, so we were given a sheet of paper and it was filled with dots. They were like 1 or 2 millimeters thick, and it was just filled with dots. And what we had to do was use 2 or more dots and use a pencil and draw a figure, anything. But the only rule was it can't be common, it can't be the most common thing. And the most common thing that you can do with 2 dots is put a smiley face on it, or like turn it into a car, or a bunch of other, like maybe a dozen or 2 dozen of just common ideas. It's the first thing people think about. And a big part of understood of cracking these exams is not choosing the most common thing. Like when you're under the pressure in a studio test and you have to come up with something, the worst thing you can do is come up with a common idea. and there are a lot of common ideas. What you have to think about is something someone has never thought about, and you can't do that if you can't think of the common shit first. So what I did was I took another piece of paper and I started drawing two dots, and I just got all of the common ideas I had out on that sheet of paper. Even though I knew it was obvious, I had to put it down on paper. I drew two dots, I drew a smiley face, I drew a car, and just a bunch of other, all the common things that came to mind. But as soon as I was like, wait, this is not common. This is something different. This is probably someone no one would have thought about. And I started putting it on the piece of paper. I'm actually gonna put a photo of it on the screen right now. And I'm like, okay, like this is, I'm getting it now. I'm getting it. What helped me was getting all the bad shit out. And I think all of the practice that I'm gonna have to do to crack this exam is mostly to make mediocre shit. And mediocre, be it in terms of quality or ideation or poor execution, whatever it is, the point is to be mediocre and be aware of it. I like to think that maybe one or two, except one or two, a lot of the videos I've made are mediocre. And that's because I have a standard in my mind, right? And it's a very low standard as of now, because if when you take the objective standards, which is like growth, consistency, all of that, I suck. But like I have this personal standard, and in relation to that, I think I have one or two good videos. But I like this. I like the fact that I'm doing mediocre shit. Like this light you see, I had to put a paper over it to make it softer. It's still not as soft as I want it to be, and it does make it a bit dimmer and more yellow. But it's better than like so many of the other videos I've had, where the lighting is shit, where it's just dark all the time, and it didn't even allow me to shoot at night, which is what I'm doing right now. And I usually shoot in the evenings, and I just use natural light, and that's a step towards out of that mediocrity and towards a better video. And me filming all of these videos without a script is me getting all of the 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 losing my train of thought, which I did like 4 times already, all of the anxiety, all of the not staring at the camera enough and just looking around, all of that out. And I just know that every single time after I upload the video, I know what I did wrong. And not all, and even if not all the time, I just know that I'm not doing something right. There's a reason why my videos are not doing, why my videos don't look well. And it's because, like, when I get to really think about it, I know what I'm not doing right. I know that maybe I should have better lighting, more moody lighting, or that's not the right word, more personal lighting, as in lighting that I really fucking love, and I want my videos to be a certain way, or editing it in a certain way. I'm not even editing. I don't even cut. I just like audio sync and that's it. Or I know that I didn't stare at the camera enough. I didn't give it enough impact, or I used the wrong words, or I said something wrong and it just threw it off track, or which I might have done a couple of times, or already like in this video, or I get distracted a bit too often, or I'm repeating too many words, or I'm saying too many. I know all of that. I know that it's there, and that's what's helping me making better videos. And that's basically what I wanted to say. That in order to escape mediocrity, well, one thing is stop having selfish goals, have more purpose-oriented goals, which I don't know how to tell you to do because I don't have them yet. But like listen to it and like feel inspired, whatever. And the other thing is to practice, know that you're sucking at it, as in be aware about it, and be better. And how to be better? Well, just look at the fucking mistake you made and correct it. Have guidance. Like you need the guidance a lot of the times to be better. And that guidance can be something as little as having a conversation with a friend. You have no clue what advice someone has for you unless you talk to them, unless you have a conversation about what you're struggling with. And it's simple things. It's genuinely just simple things that nobody thinks about, or that are too cringe to even remember. That learn from your mistakes. Like duh, I know I'm supposed to be learning from your mistakes, but I don't. Because I don't have the right attitude towards the mistakes I make. People break down when they they do something wrong, as in like they suck at something, or like they encounter failure, and it's a human emotion, you can't do much about it other than feeling it, right? But the issue isn't the emotion that you feel, but it's the mindset that you reinforce. It's fine, like it's so natural to like if break down if you had a failure, or if you did something really wrong that you shouldn't have done, or to have regrets. It's great, in fact, because it's the one you get an opportunity to experience a human emotion, and it's like a reminder that hey, you're still human, like you can still feel sad. And the issue is that yeah, these people just reinforce the fact that oh, I suck and I can't be better, I suck and I will never be better, or this is just too much for me and I can't do this, or there's no way I'll be better at it. And that's the mindset which becomes problematic. And it any mindset that halts you, that forces you to be better, is problematic. And the way to change it is to look at it as if you're spewing out, throwing up, spitting out all of the mediocrity, all of the trash out of your system, so you can get to the great parts of it. And it also reinforces, or it teaches you the idea that there is greatness within you. There is greatness within everybody, I think, for the most part. You just have to know that every time you're being bad at something, you're throwing it out of your system, you're getting it out of your system. I suck at driving. I haven't said this, and it's a big thing for me to say this because I love cars and I love driving and I love just that whole genre. And I'd be the last person to say that I suck at driving a car, because and what I tell myself is, oh, you're so stupid. Just because you like cars doesn't mean you're gonna be great at driving them. But I want myself to be better. And what held me back was that, oh, the next time I'm gonna get on the road, I'm just gonna crash and I'm gonna like hurt someone. And it wasn't up until like yesterday until I realized, bro, like you're not gonna get over it until you get behind the wheel again and probably crash somewhere else. And like, stop looking at it as if it's something that's breaking you down and it's making you worse. Your failures are making you better. Your failures are giving you the opportunity to be better. And it's when you're here and you do something that is so low, like it's like a very noble person committing a really harsh crime. That's when it's really bad, because you thought you were here, but what you did was someone of like here, right? And that's difficult to come back up to. But a mistake is a fucking mistake, and you can't do anything about it but learn from it and be better. And it might tarnish your reputation forever or whatever, but all of it. And this is very different, this is more social, and it could be avoided and all of that. But I'm talking more in terms of work. That when you're here, like when you're a great artist and you just draw something fucking horrible, like when if you thought you were here and you're just here, that's when it gets to you. But you're like, it's just a mistake, that's what it is, and it doesn't define you. It doesn't automatically cancel out every other time you made something beautiful. And it's not a permanent thing. It's not that just because your entire childhood you spent spewing out the mediocrity, that all you're gonna be able to do is greatness. No, because if for the rest of your life all you could do was make great things, then you could never make great things, because just it cancels out. Like you can't just you can't just expect that after a while that you've made every single mistake you could make, that you can't make another one. Murphy's law. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. I just fucking watched Interstellar today after like 5 years. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Doesn't matter how good you are, but you can't let that shit hold you back from making anything ever again. That's what it was doing to me. Me having crashed or like whatever shouldn't hold me back from driving because I want to do it. It's a different thing when if I really get really good at it and I realize that it's not exactly enjoyable for me and I can just let it go. That's a different thing. But I know that if I know how to do it, if it gives me any sort of satisfaction being okay at it, that it's gonna be good for me if I'm great at it, and I can't just let it go. Right. So that's all I had to say. I don't know if I should end it right now, or I don't know if I have things to say. I might just be going back in a loop, and I might end up saying something that's more profound that might not come out if I stop recording. But um, I don't exactly have to worry about that because it's not like I can never say it again, right? I'll have plenty of opportunities to. And if I'm grateful for anything right now, is just the fact that I decided to pick up my camera and start recording and start speaking. Even if it was horrible, even if you hated it, even if you laughed at me, even if you hate me, even if you're gonna say something in the comments that's gonna hurt my ego, or that like you wanna murder me or something. Like I don't know. I would love to have my first hater. Do I? I thought I did, but I don't. I don't. Um, yeah, I just know that I'm gonna do big things. And my future me might laugh at me, but I'm counting that it doesn't come to that. Or at least, it doesn't come to the fact that I'm laughing at myself because I ended up doing nothing. I can't die without that. I can't die without having done something big, made an impact. And I don't know why I care about that, or whether I question a lot whether I should care about making a difference or impacting someone's life. Like people say, I just want to see people happy. I just want to help people, even if it's one person. But like, and I don't know if they're bluffing or not, but like my question to them is it really enough? Just helping one person, that's fine for you? Like, yeah, one person is a big thing, but like there's 8 billion people, 8 billion persons, and you can't help all of them, but and this is me being immature and not really knowing about shit, but like you can't help all of them. And so it's a weird line between you can't help all of them, but you want to help more than just one. And by the time you help more than just one, it just wants to keep getting more and more. So is there a point where you help like 7.5 billion people, and all you care about is helping the last 500,000, sorry, what, 5 million, I don't even know, 500 million that you can't? I don't know where it comes down to. And I think a lot about that in terms of money, that when will you stop making money and feel happy about it? And obviously there's obvious answers like, oh, gratitude, and not letting materialism consume you, and all of that, and appreciating the plants and trees, and yeah, I know. But like, as an 18-year-old, I think about this shit way more than I imagine myself to ever, right? And it's just a side effect of growing up.